from the vault, high atop the pastoral center of the Diocese of Camden, you're listening to Talking Catholic.
Hello and welcome to another episode of Talking Catholic. It is your long-lost host here, Kari with my good friend Mike Walsh. Here I am.
I was thinking that the listeners were going to go, what is that voice?
I know.
That doesn't sound like Marianella. It doesn't sound like Jen. Doesn't even sound like Pete. Doesn't sound like Mike Bress. No, it's our prodigal Kari.
But what is the difference? Which one of these is not like the other? I am not up there in Camden with all of you guys
that is true.
Pop in and record these.
That
so
is true.
We're working around a lot of different schedules. So give us a break.
Oh, no. But it has been, look, you and I haven't been together since November.
I know. It's
right?
been a long time.
The last time you were in person, you did one with Pete Sanchez.
Mm-hmm.
And we did do a hostful Christmas episode on Zoom. But this is the first time. This might be the first time you and I have been in the same room together since November.
It's a long time.
It's been a while.
And even diocesan events, we haven't crossed paths. I'll be there and I'm like, oh, who's shooting? Oh, that's not Mike behind the camera. And then...
Nope.
I'll be at church, and that's not Mike there either. Yeah, he's somewhere else.
Well, it's funny. So I've been, you never see me, even though you attend my parish. You never see me there. You see my family, but you never see me there because I'm usually all over the place. Even in that regard, it's been sort of a weird run where I haven't been out as much compared to previous years. I've been out, but haven't been out as much. Matter of fact, there's going to be an event the weekend we're recording right now. At our parish, and you won't see me there either because I have a conflict with another event that's going on. So
too many good things in the diocese.
Hey, listen, it's a good problem to have.
It is. It's been really nice. There has been a lot of really great things going on, and
so
busy.
Yeah. So this is good. This we're actually recording this about 2 weeks, I think, before it's going to go out. So we'll try not to make it too dated for our listeners. But in that span of time for the last 3 months, what have you been up to?
Oh, 3 months. I got to think back. That's hard. Let's see.
Well, you made it through the Christmas season.
Yeah, I was going to say there was Christmas, which was really great. I get a nice little break in that time frame. I enjoy working with the college students because they get a month off. I get about a week and a half or so. I try to time it with my son's winter break. So I would say the main theme that has been during that time from Christmas on has been skiing. We love to ski.
Oh, that's awesome.
Our families has become very big ski family. I try to cut away anytime I can. I'm actually going skiing tomorrow with some of the students. Very excited for that. But my son is just under 7 years old, and he is skiing like a pro. He had his first jump. He has been flying down the mountain, and I taught him everything he knows. So he never went to ski school. He went to mom's school of ski. So he really he's sneaking up behind me because he's at work with me tonight. So do you want to say hello?
Hello.
And what do you like about skiing?
The jumps.
He hit his first jump. Yeah. And before we know it, I hope he hitting those big jumps. I was like, go really slow. You hear me in the video. Go really slow. So that has been fun. There's two saints that I love that also enjoyed skiing. Of course, St. John Paul II, who JP is named after. And then Blessed Pier Giorgio Frassati. He did a lot more climbing the mountains, but I believe he did ski because he's right there by the Alps. So
very cool.
Yeah, so I always say extra prayers to them when we're on the mountain to keep us safe, and we've had safe runs, and it's been a fun ski season. We've had a little bit of real snow. That's been nice to go up to the mountains. So there's such a beauty being outdoors and really just being with God in that moment. And I don't do too much other things, like I don't hike or do other things like that are super outdoorsy. I don't camp, but skiing I do. So I've been enjoying the season for sure.
Yeah, the funny thing is I love the outdoorsy stuff, and I never get a chance to do any outdoorsy stuff anymore. I was actually looking at sending my son reels of various campers I was looking at, and he has been skiing himself several times this year. Yeah, we went with scouts. They went up with family, and he was invited to go up with his girlfriend's family. But
there's a girlfriend.
Yes, there's a girlfriend. She's very nice.
Catch up later on this stuff.
Don't worry. You'll like her. She's a good Catholic girl.
Good
athlete too.
Oh, that's awesome.
And very smart. So checks all the boxes.
I like it.
But her family invited him up for skiing, and I was like, I don't think he can go, man, because he's already in training for the next baseball season. So I had to go see his pitching coach.
It is a little. It's nerve wracking. And
that's it. And I told him that. I was like, listen, you want to make varsity, right? He's like, it's really hard to make varsity if you got a busted wing. Falling down.
Yeah, you really have to. I always think, oh my gosh, if this happens, I can't do this, and this. Like, I think about it, and when I'm looking at, do I want to do a little jump? Do I want to try something new? I'm very into. I love the greens and blues. black's like, okay, I'll do it so I could say I've done it. But the going down the greens, so for our listeners that don't know what the greens, blacks, and blues are your easiest trails. They're less of an incline, a little bit more gradual hill. The blues get a little bit harder, but not really. It's still, pretty, and a beginner could accomplish it if they wanted to, but it's a little bit more challenging, usually a little bit more of an incline. But the blacks are like your steepest, and then the black diamond, and then a double black diamond is like there's moguls on it and it's all kinds of craziness. I've never even done one of those. But black diamond, I did one skiing with my friend the other day, and I was like, yeah, I did that. Okay, cool. I can do them, but I don't really want to do that. It's not enjoyable. So I go down my blues and greens, and my greens, which are the easiest, remember, there's like little side walls, and I try to just make it a little challenge to kind of like ski up and down them, or if there's a tree, ski through it. So I make it like a little challenging in that sense. But sometimes I second guess. I'm like, do I really want to do this? If I hit something, I don't want to tear any ACL.
Yeah. Well, see, that's my thing is my legs are really torn up, and I have been skiing several times, and I enjoy it. But I got to a point where I was like, you know what? I enjoy this, but I'm also the guy that's going to hit a tree. So how about we dial this back? And I was like, you know what I do enjoy? I enjoy the ski lodge atmosphere. I like being around it. I like being with the people. I like being able to see everything. Yeah, I'll do tubing and stuff like that. I'll do the bunny hill.
Tubing.
I tell you, listen, you make fun, but it's like, what do I care?
You just sit down and go for a ride. You don't have to do anything.
I'm going to enjoy the outdoors. I don't care.
I know.
But anyway.
But speaking of that, I'm very excited to say, and maybe I'll come back on a future podcast and we'll banter and talk about this. I'm going to Colorado over spring break to ski. So
awesome.
I'm very excited about that. Yeah,
wow,
very
cool.
excited about that.
Which resort are you going to?
Keystone, it's called.
Okay.
Keystone is one of the more known ones in the Denver-ish area. I think it's like 2 hours from there. And I'm flying into Denver. So I'm super duper excited for this.
That's awesome.
And it'll be a 3-day trip with my friend who taught me how to ski. So I'm excited.
Yeah, very cool.
Yeah.
Well
so
done.
I'll come back and chat how Colorado was compared to Poconos, which is a world of difference.
I'll tell you, I think I told you at some point during the last year, my son was at a scout camp in the Colorado and New Mexico
area. I remember talking about that,
And he did say that the biggest thing for him was the mountains.
Oh, it was beautiful.
It was like going from, he's like, Dad, I didn't realize we only have hills in Pennsylvania and New Jersey.
Yeah.
I didn't know what an actual mountain was. I was like, oh, yeah, that's a mountain.
Yeah, it's gorgeous. I was there in June for the first time for a wedding, and it was just breathtaking. And I was like, I need to get back here and ski. And it's happening.
Hey, listeners, I tell you people all the time, get out there, travel. It's the best part of being alive is going out and meeting people and seeing things. Yeah. Don't be like me and sit in an office all day long. Go out and experience
be like me
the world.
and go to Colorado and everywhere else you can go.
Exactly.
Life is meant for living.
What would Kari do? Kari, get out there.
Yes.
All is well in the Rowan Catholic Campus Ministry world?
So we're about a third into the semester. It's been going really well. Had a very strong start back to the semester, and we started actually with our spring retreat, and we're going to be highlighting retreats. I know in this episode, but that was about 2 weeks ago. We had a oblate of St. Francis de Sales, Father John Fisher, who's in our diocese. He's down in Cape
one of
May.
My favorite priests, former podcast guest.
Awesome guy. I could hear him doing really well, but he has a great voice.
He is.
I could hear him.
Does.
Yeah, he probably did.
He was actually, because he's an oblate and he's religious, they get shifted around. And he was the rector of the cathedral for several years in Camden.
Yeah.
And when he left, I was quite disappointed. Of course, it opened it up for Father Adam Jeheski, who I'm very fond of, and he's been a great rector. But Father John Fisher was a special character. So I'm sure it was a good retreat.
He did a super job on our retreat. And I heard about St. Francis de Sales, not too much, but really got to know his spirituality well through this retreat. And I'm a big fan. He's a good saint.
He's a good.
I mean, all saints are good, but like just a saint for us to really stop and be in the moment. That's what the retreat was really about.
Well, I mean, you are whether you might realize it or not, you are a communicator, and therefore you are in the zone of the oblates.
Yeah, is he patron saint? Is he writers? I think
writers specifically, but communicators in general.
Okay.
So there's the rare times you have been to the vault, there's a picture of him up there.
Really? Oh, I have to look.
Yeah, he's our patron saint.
Nice. I didn't even know that.
Yeah.
Wow.
Of course.
Now I like him even more.
Oh, yeah. You should. You should.
He's good.
As a matter of fact, the Catholic Media Association has a award dedicated to him. He's cool. He's integral. So, no, he's somebody that maybe we'll, oh, wait, hold on. I'm pretty sure our sister podcast, Talking Saints, has done an episode on...
It wasn't 54 and a half minutes on him.
No.
So you could.
So we should do a full one just on that? Okay. Actually, we could do a full one.
John Fisher, have him back.
You wouldn't have to twist my arm.
Yeah.
He's a great human being.
I'll co-host that one.
Okay.
We'll set it for 2 months from now again, so I can make my return one more time.
Well, he's a busy guy too. We may have to wait for the summertime, so that might have to be a summer podcast. But no. But speaking of that, so it was a successful retreat, though.
Oh, it was beautiful, and so some of the highlights of it is our first time at the Villa Maria by the Sea Retreat House in Stone Harbor.
Isn't that great?
Cannot go wrong there. I will say the only holdback for our group there is that it only holds 40, and we tend to be a little bit larger than that, but we made it work, and we did all fit. We actually ended up in the end having 3 open rooms, which worked out well. A few people got sick last minute, couldn't come, but it was maxed out originally.
I saw the photos on your Instagram feed, and I got to tell you, made me very jealous.
It's beautiful. Well, what makes me more jealous is thinking about those sisters that get to go there in the summer with the private pool and the private beach right there.
I'll give you a tip. We're actually, when this podcast airs, we will be about. Oh, it may have just started. For Lent, one of the sisters from there is doing a video series for us. Emily
Vincent?
Yes.
Sister, I love her.
Yeah,
she has great columns in the Catholic Star Herald.
Yeah.
She was super warm and welcoming to us. I was on a panel of vocations with her, panel for vocations down at St. Mary's in Vineland about 3 years ago. That was my first encounter with her. She's just lovely.
John Kalitz will be recording her as we're recording this day. He's recording her tomorrow. So it'll
tell
be
her
great.
I said hi.
I will. I'll pass it along.
One funny thing about it, though, was the weekend of the Super Bowl. So, all the sisters, their mother house is in Immaculata University out in PA, so they're all Eagles fans.
Good.
So I'm, giving this really serious talk at the end, telling the students how much I just so fond of them. I'm so proud of them for coming on this retreat. I'll always be there for them, all these things, recapping the retreat. And I look up in the middle of this serious moment, and there's the sisters with their little Eagles hats over their veils. I lost it. I was like, I'm sorry, guys. I did not expect that to happen right now. And so we took pictures with them. They were so cute. Some of them had shirts on. They were so excited about it. And of course, it was a great ending to the weekend, too.
Yeah.
Just it was the whole weekend was just boom, boom, boom.
Every retreat should come with a Super Bowl victory at the end.
I think that would be nice.
It was good.
My husband was happy. Friends were over. It was great. Yeah. So those are some highlights so far, and
that's good.
Keep on plugging away in the semester.
As we start to transition over to our interview portion, you've brought on some of your e-board members, right? Who are
and retreat team former retreat team leaders,
who are people who help design these. How many, what is the nature of a retreat?
Well, it goes back to, it's very biblical.
And by the way, if anybody's listening and wondering, no, I've never been on a retreat. I mean, technically I have, but I've never been on a multi-day overnight retreat.
We're gonna get you on one. That's my goal.
Yeah, hold your breath.
All right.
So what's the purpose?
Yeah, so the roots are very biblical to Jesus, right? Before he went out for his public ministry, he took time, retreated. Before his passion, he was praying in the desert. So he needed time to recharge. He was the Son of God. He is the second person of the Trinity. He is God incarnate, and he needed time to recharge. So of course, each of us who are not divine in any way need that time as well. So it kind of goes back to there, and just taking that time to pray, to pull back from your normal. And you think about also armies and different foreign branches of the military. What does it mean to retreat, to pull back from that battle, right? So we're all in a battle in the daily life, and in the spiritual sense, life is a spiritual battle. There is always spiritual warfare going on, and so we need to take time to pull back, to kind of recharge, to reset, kind of review our focus, review the mission, and kind of move forward in a stronger direction. So that's simplified way, but
let me ask you this, because to the point you've just made, it's actually a great point. What about for those of us who can't? I never do it because I can't make the break for myself.
Yeah, I feel that too. So a couple things that I was going to add on to that is it's simplified in the sense that's what it is in essence. But there's all different kinds of retreats, right? You can have a day retreat. There's going to be one in the diocese for some of people like me that are in ministry that are going. I forget the title of it.
I forget that. We're both going to be there, but I can't remember what it's called either.
It's next week, but I'll be there. That's a day retreat, right? I'm not going to be at my normal work day. I'm going to be at Mary Mother Mercy Parish with a retreat leader who's going to give talks and maybe break us out into some small group conversation and share and all the lovely things that we get to do with our colleagues. So that's a short kind of not even a full day, right? It's not even like 9 to 5. It's, it's whatever it is, 8:30 to 4, something like that. Whatever. It's not that long. But then there's weekend retreats. There's 30-day retreats, 40-day retreats, week-long retreats. I mean, you could design a retreat in any way needed possible. There's retreats that are completely silent, where you're just praying, meditating, hearing talks, and digesting them yourself internally, not even conversing with other people, not even during lunch or dinner or anything.
I'll be honest with you, that's the only one that intrigues me.
And that's what I would never want to do.
Oh, really?
Yes. We had one time there was a silent lunch, and I was like, this is so hard. But, so there's all different kinds, designed for different people, designed for different spirituality, designed for different age groups. I've read countless retreats for young people, from confirmation retreats to 8th grade, graduation retreats, that next phase of your life, high school retreats. I've read all different ones for youth and young adults through the years. I actually used to have a wall at my old parish in my office. We called it the retreat timeline. Yeah. And it started with the very first retreat. And when I left there was over close to 100 of the different pictures from the different retreats that we led, which was pretty incredible. Yeah. But everyone was unique. We even did family retreats where their families would come away for the weekend and designed. We had a track for children, a track for teens, a track for adults. It was pretty cool. Yeah, Father Maz and I did that for a little while. So there's a lot of really different ways you can. There's no really set way, but the idea is to get away, be with the Lord, refocus yourself, and to pray.
And as someone who has held these retreats, particularly the ones that are extended days, particularly for our South Jersey or Delaware Valley listeners, where in the area are places that hold retreats like regularly?
Yeah.
Like you talked about where you were
Yeah,
recently.
Villa Maria by the Sea is one of them. They do excellent job. Down in Stone Harbor. Yeah. Now, this is the first year I'm seeing them advertise. I'm not sure if they started. They are only 2 years old, the house itself. In 2023, I believe it was dedicated. I think it was towards the end of the year of 2023. Yeah. And I know from May to October, it's just for their sisters to come. So I guess it's pretty much in that off season from October to May that they're opening it up to other people. And this is the first time. Their old retreat house that they built over didn't do this. It was only for the sisters. Now the new one is for any sisters and anybody that wants to come in for the weekend and hold their own retreat, or these ones that they offer. So they've offered all different ones. Like in January, they had a day of reflection for the unborn where they had a speaker and some time of prayer. They offered lunch. They have a full cafeteria there. They've had Women's Day retreats I saw advertised, and all different ones, different spiritualities. So Villa Maria by the Sea, check their website. I know monthly they release their retreats. Malvern Retreat House in Pennsylvania, they also offer different retreats as well.
I've never been. I've known people who've gone there for years.
I've only been there for a talk. I've never been there for a retreat either, yeah. Right. But I know my husband went to one time, a men's retreat there. Yeah. And that's a big following, their men's retreats in Malvern. They're called the Men of Malvern.
Exactly, I was going to say, Men of Malvern, right.
Yeah, so they're, I'm trying to think anywhere else. I mean, certain churches will hold a day retreat or even a weekend retreat where you come on Friday night, then you come back Saturday, maybe come back Sunday morning. I've seen those advertised as well. So I'm sure if you check your website,
if you go to the Diocese of Camden,
rather,
Catholic Star Herald, we do have stuff out there, and I know a lot of the bulletins, parish bulletins, will have stuff like that. Where did you used to take the students in previous years? Was it at college?
St. Mary's of Providence in Elverson, PA. Okay. It's a old mansion. It used to be the Potts family mansion. Yeah, it's incredible. It's now in the hands of sisters and Sisters of Providence, and they run it. So we decided when Villa Maria opened and we were able to kind of get a spot in there, we are taking our spring retreat there, but our fall retreat actually changing as a new location for that this fall. It's going to be right in-house at the Carlo QT Center.
That's right.
It'll be St. Carlo QT Center by then.
Yes, it will.
And we'll be doing an overnight there. So we do a little different from our fall to our spring retreat. I'm sure we'll get into that with the students because they've been a part of both.
Okay. Well, I just to go back in time a wee bit, I have been to retreats. My retreats were pre-Cana retreats. And then I did
Like you attended one or you led them?
Kari.
Do you
think I've ever led a retreat?
You said plural, retreats.
Well,
usually you only make one for pre-Cana, so I just wanted to make sure.
Because the other one was also marital. It was a worldwide marriage encounter.
Oh, yeah.
retreat.
I've always wanted to do one of those. I've heard good things.
That was down in Stone Harbor. As a matter of fact, with your semi-pastor, Father Sanjay Davis was.
Oh yeah, he's really big with them.
Yeah, he was. And actually, his talk was really good. It was very. That was actually the first time I ever met him. Matter of fact, that was before I worked for the diocese. So it's a good guy. But yes, for our listeners, there are 1,000 different options. But you
there's
have
many out there.
2 guests with you today who have helped you plan the ones here, right?
Yeah, but on the retreat team leadership, they're also leaders of our campus ministry and what we call the e-board or the executive board. And we wanted to have a few more ladies to represent, but we just got the 2 guys that are here with us today, which are great guys. So we'll start over here with our president.
Hello. Thanks for having me on. My name is Donovan. I'm the president of Rowan Catholic Campus Ministry. I'm a junior here at Rowan University, and I'm studying mechanical engineering.
Awesome. You sir?
I'm Stephen McClain. I'm the treasurer at Rowan Catholic, and I'm also a junior mechanical engineering student, actually.
Oh.
We have a lot of those around here.
Always good to see STEM represented in the Rowan Catholic Campus Ministry. That's nice. Welcome, fellows. So you've been a part of Rowan Catholic Campus Ministry since you've been at Rowan, or did you come in later? Some people kind of migrate later in their careers.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, it's funny because Steve and I, we go way back. We actually met each other at our first Newman barbecue. He was like, we're like the first. He was the first person I talked to,
Yep.
and we go way back to the first welcome back barbecue our freshman year.
Oh, wow. Okay.
That was my freshman year too. We're all in the same amount of time being at Newman.
Aww.
Yeah. When these guys graduate, it'll be tough because they're a good group. Them and some others that are in the junior year right now. They're very strong.
Oh, that's wonderful. So was your first for either one of you was like a Newman House retreat? Your first retreat?
Yeah. I mean, for me, yeah. So I remember when I had to do like a confirmation retreat. So I made my confirmation when I was in 10th grade. I remember that was more of like a day retreat. But when I got to college, I was really like looking forward to doing like the whole 3-day, 2-night retreat because I never really did anything like that before. So yeah, my fall freshman year, that was my first retreat, and I always made sure to sign up for them like every. We have them one in the fall, one in the spring. I've done every one since my freshman year, and I always look forward to doing it every year.
That's awesome. What about you?
So I've actually been on some before coming to college. You were talking about Malvern Retreat House, and my family used to go on family retreats there. Probably went, I want to say like 5 or 6 years. This was back, it was probably like, I want to say I was 9 when we last went. Maybe a little older. So I have been on retreats before, but very different. I mean, some things the same, but very different experience than going on like the college retreats. Mm-hmm. So, yeah, I agree with Donovan. I missed my freshman fall retreat, but I've been on every one since then, and now, yeah, it's a top priority to make sure I'm able to go.
Well, that's great. That's always a good sign when you want to make sure you're there.
And you wanted to go. It was just a conflict, I believe, with a scheduled conflict for another commitment he had. So your heart was there. Just couldn't physically be there.
What was it about the Newman retreats that kind of spoke to you?
It's really tough to say. Like, I feel like for me, it's just really as like a college student, a lot of times we get, really caught up in our schoolwork and all of our responsibilities. And I feel like retreat weekend is always just such a great weekend. And it's also feel like it's important for our spiritual lives to just like refresh and, have that renewed sense of like, faith. Sometimes I feel like it's really hard. Sometimes it gets sort of like pushed to the side when you're busy with like school and everything. But, I feel like retreat weekend is always such a great weekend to, reset and, get back on track.
Yeah, I agree with the resetting and refreshing. Just like the college life can be a very anxiety-filled environment. So I think retreats are so important and so necessary in every walk of life, but I don't want to say more important, but almost more important when you're immersed in that anxiety day in and day out as a college student. They become so much more refreshing. I think it's so cool. Like, this is one of the only times in life when you get to just go away with your best friends and have zero other commitments. Like, we don't have kids that we're worried about or jobs and whatnot, and we can just go. And so that aspect of it is so cool.
Yeah, I'm glad you picked up on that, because it is such a unique time of your life that and it's fleeting, but you're at least in that moment and understanding that, because some people can look back and say, oh man, I remember when I was just in college. I met my husband on a retreat, actually, so I think about that time often, how you are just kind of free in your responsibilities in a lot of ways. Of course, you have responsibilities to school and things, and I commend you guys, because you do have to really carve out, the students really do have to carve out and plan a lot. Okay, I have to get X, Y, and Z done on Friday before I leave, because when I get back, you're usually tired, because a lot of times you're staying up all night, not because we tell them to, but because they're with each other. They're with 39 of their other best friends, and want to hang out and be together and chat and just enjoy those moments. But then you come back on Sunday and you're tired, and if you loaded up all this other schoolwork that waited till Sunday nights, it can be hard. So they really do have to make the time and carve out the time. And some of you guys have part-time jobs and have to also take off from them, because they're usually on the weekend. So it is commendable for the college students, because I do hear often, like, oh, I'm so busy, I have this and this. And I've learned to, like, push where I can, like, say, well, can you get somebody to cover your shift? Can you ask your boss in advance, tell them it's a church event. It's not like you're, trying to go to a concert or something. Yeah. They might understand it a little bit more. And often when students do take me up on that little nudge that I'll give, they do end up, getting that time off or getting the opportunity to come, and they're always so grateful. And it's very hard. I think retreats, and maybe the guys can speak to this, are the type of thing, it's almost hard to explain. Like, it's like you have to experience it to say, yes, I felt that, and like, this is good for me, but unless you're there, it's almost hard to sell somebody on it until they go through it, and then they're like, oh my gosh, I'm so glad I came. I don't know if you have any thoughts on that yourself with your own experiences.
Completely agree with that. I was almost the same way in my freshman year, where I was like, I guess I'll come. Like, I don't have high expectations. Oh, I kind of did, but yeah. And that, so yeah, I tell people, just go out on a limb and trust me with this, because I can't really tell you more than that. And when they do, it's 100% satisfaction or your money back guaranteed, and nobody's gotten their money back. So,
okay, well, there you go. That's a good
really
sign.
Funny you say that, because Father Maz used to always say that at the beginning of every retreat that I led with him. He's like, we'll give you 100% of your money back, but I've never had to do it. Like, he always says something like that. It's really funny.
It's true. Yeah. You're going to get something out of it. We know that.
Yeah.
So you've also not just been attendees, you've also been planners as well, right?
Right.
So when you're thinking about the retreat, first of all, I guess the first question I have for the both of you is, and actually all three of you, what does a Newman House retreat encompass? Like, what's the agenda each day you're there?
I guess I'll start with that. Yeah. So, sort of like all the retreats are sort of focused around like there's like talks given. So over the course of the weekend, there'll probably be between like 3 and 4 talks, right? Given by in the fall retreat, it was us students giving a talk, or in the case 2 weeks ago, it was led by Father John Fisher. So it's usually centered around like some talks, right? So then after,
which each talk have a theme that kind of like carries through,
right?
Okay.
And then after the talks, we'll break into like small groups. So the small groups be about like 5 to 8, guys or girls, and it's a really good time to like reflect. We'll reflect on that talk, and then we'll discuss how we can apply that talk to our lives, or we talk about like our struggles, and how we can just be better men, better women of Christ, and then we have those talks, and then of course the always big like focal point is we always have from Saturday night to Sunday morning, we always have like adoration throughout the night, which is always so beautiful, right? So then we always sign up for holy hours, and which that's always so beautiful to like pray just a holy hour, at 2 a.m. on retreat. Because honestly, for me, like that's something that with school, it's like really hard to like actually pray. Go to adoration often. So that's always something I always look forward to on retreat. And I think it's really cool how we have that like perpetual adoration for like it's like about 7 or 8 hours from around 8 o'clock at night to like 6 a.m. So that's pretty much the general formula. I don't know if Stephen has anything to add.
No, you covered it. I think the other one important thing is sprinkled in. We always have some like this quiet time where it's like intentionally quiet, where we're not conversing with each other, and we've been blessed to be at 2 amazing locations where we can go out in nature, and making that intention to be quiet just brings a lot of opportunity for peace. So I think that's also a really important point. We also have on our spring retreats, everybody does it. Fall retreats optional, but giving up your cell phone, which if you've never done it, sounds absolutely terrifying. But for people who've done it, everybody would do it again. It's another thing where you got to just take the leap and do it to be sold on it. But to be free from that is indescribably good.
I can't tell you how many students have said, just keep it. I don't want it back on Sunday. And I'm like, I don't want your cell phone. But it's impressive. Listeners, this past retreat, we had 30, how many students do we have? 37? 36 students on the retreat, all willingly hand in their phone. Like it was mandatory for if you wanted to come on the spring retreat. And nobody complained. Everybody survived. Nobody asked for it from me once. It just went, and it was awesome. And
that's nice.
We had puzzles out and things. People were doing puzzles. I mean, it was amazing. But everyone was just, and it was a big theme of the retreat, but literally living in the moments that they had no distractions from the outside world on. As
planners, going back to the theme, like how do you come up with a theme for the retreat?
Well, that's kind of me. That's a me job.
Okay. So how do you come up with a theme for it?
I'm always kind of like in tune to what's the kind of feeling of the semester, of our students, whether their needs, what kind of any themes kind of coming up, just in the spirituality of that moment, different. Yeah, I don't know. I just kind of like listen to the spirit, I guess is the easiest way to say it. Mm-hmm. And I kind of keep my heart open to like, all right, Lord, like lay something that like is obvious, lay something down in front of me that's obvious that I need to like present to Father Rossi and get his opinion on. So St. Augustine has this quote, "Our hearts are restless until they rest in you, Lord." It's very famous, and kept coming up like leading up into the fall semester. And I kind of tucked in the back of my mind, like that would be a good retreat theme this past, like leading into the fall. And then I think it was St. Monica's feast day, which is August 27th. And Father Rossi, I think, was quoting St. Augustine, or maybe it was his feast day, right around then. It was right at the end of the summer, and he said it. And I afterwards went up to Father Rossi in Mass. I said, Father, I had the quote you mentioned in your homily, like I had that as an idea for a retreat theme, like maybe give it some thought. And Per's like, yeah, I think that would be good. And just kind of we went with it when we had to start to prepare for the retreat, which is only about a couple weeks into the semester. We have to kind of get things prepared, start getting the forms out there, getting the dates out there, advertising and all of that. So it had to be solidified by then, and it just really felt to fit the time of that like restlessness, but we need God, to be restful. So that was this past fall. In semesters past, we've done the 2 greatest commandments. Love God with all your heart, mind, and soul. Love your neighbor as yourself. Mm-hmm. So that was another one. And then the spring retreat, we started to now use an outside retreat leader, but last year Father Rossi led the spring retreat, and that theme was "Go in Peace." Because again, you heard, right? So anxiety filled. So we kind of know our needs of our students and try to apply it for that. But we thought the theme for the spring, that actually surfaced from one of our students. They had the idea to restart our book club. We had it a couple semesters ago. It kind of fell by the wayside. We kind of tabled it for a little while, and they're like, can we restart the book club and do St. Francis de Sales' Introduction to the Devout Life? And I was like, it's a great book. I remember reading it in college, and just hearing quotes from it. I think that would be helpful. And I presented to Father Rossi. Said, well, what if we do a retreat theme on that? I know Father John Fisher, and that's how it all started, right? So we were like, okay, well, let's see if he's available, and he was available. So it just kind of, it falls into place, based on the needs that kind of surface from the students and from what kind of we're praying on, and just feeling the movement of the Spirit. So we've had now 6 retreats since I've been here, 1 each semester, and each one has been a different theme. One of them was on the 7 petitions of the Our Father. That was a good one too. So really, really good stuff. And
are the retreats, in addition to being, reaffirming, are they instructional too? Like, do you go into it with the intent of like instructing or being instructed?
I would say the spring is more.
Yeah, the spring was more.
Yeah, the spring tends to be a little more serious for us.
Yeah.
The fall is more of like an introduction to bonding. Especially you'll have a lot of new students in the fall, whether it be transfers or freshmen. So that spring retreat, or the fall retreat rather, is really for them to get to know each other. And that's why we have the students lead them, and they give witness talks based on that theme. And they work with me for 4 weeks leading up to the actual retreat itself on that theme, and their talks and delivering their talks and planning a couple other of the details of the retreat. So they really do help in that aspect of planning as well for the fall. But in the spring, even myself, I have to there's background work, laying out the rooms, communicating with the retreat house, the numbers, dietary needs, all those little details. But it's not as much work because the retreat leader that comes in last year, again, was Father Rossi in the spring, but this year was Father John Fisher. Like, even Father Rossi's like, I feel like I'm on retreat too. I'm like, yes, this is nice.
That
so
is
it's good. Yeah. We also get Sister Cecilia, one of our favorite podcast guests. Yeah.
Sure.
She's very present at our Newman house and has dedicated a lot of her time to serving the young people as well. And here, and I know in other areas of the diocese as well, she's very geared towards the youth. And so she has also attended our retreats, and she just her presence and opportunity to talk to her. If you need to talk privately, she offers herself too. So it was just Father John Fisher, Father John Rossi, myself, and sister, and then all the students. So they had opportunities to chat with us as well.
Is confession available during these weekends?
Yeah, I mean that's another like great benefit of the retreats too, because obviously it's it's something that's hard for a lot of us to make it to confession times at the parish. So there's always we always dedicate like an hour or two throughout the weekend just specifically for confessions, and and also like Father Rossi or the other any other priest, they're always like make themselves available for confession, or if they just everybody else wants to just chat with them. So yeah.
It tends to go a long time. We always have an hour and a half scheduled, and we always need more time.
Well, that's interesting.
Which is a good problem.
That is a good problem, and it sounds like maybe one of the great effects of a retreat, because I know that typically people are reticent to go to confession. It can be for many, not for some of the truly great Catholics that I'm present with right now, but for others, like myself, it can be difficult to either make the time or feel encouraged to go.
Yeah.
So I have to imagine having that there, and the fact that it runs over makes me very happy.
Yeah, and I think also it's a little bit more than like your Saturday night confessional line where you're. Most priests are trying to get probably to as many parishioners as they can, because there's not as much windows of time for confessions, I think, in churches. I wish there was a little bit more. I think it might make it a little bit more opportunity for people who, what was the word you used, reticent? A little more reticent, like to say, all right, I have like every day of the week I could go, so I'm going to make it the point to go at least one of these days. But it's like Saturday at night, or Saturday morning, or one night during the week at most parishes. And that could be hard with people's schedules. So for the students too, it could be hard. So having it readily, like right there, like there's this hour and a half window, just wait online or come back when the line's a little shorter. And they do almost all take advantage of it. I didn't sit there and count how many went, because that's between them and God, but
sure,
there was a long line every time I walked by. And I think the priests do take a little extra care and time to give them a little advice and help them through their difficulty, that whatever that those sins might be.
Well, that's good. That makes me happy to hear that because I've been trying to push confession in a lot of confessions over the last year.
Yeah,
because
I'm a big fan.
I'm hoping I'll be able to convince myself to go do it. But
So we have April 9th is our Newman St. Bridget Parish Advent Penance Service. Come on by.
There's a 0% chance of that happening. Actually, it's funny you should say that. This is completely a tangent, but I was asked recently. I was at a Catholic Media Association meeting with people from, my colleagues from all over the country. And, we're pretty well-known people in our dioceses and in the work we do. And one of my colleagues, who's, about equal in stature as me in terms of his level. And he says, Mike, how do you handle the confession thing? And
meaning like a personal question, like you and your soul? Okay.
No.
Or like,
well, he didn't. That was he meant it logistically. He's like, how do you go to confession? And I go, well, I said, you got to understand, I have the benefit of location. The cathedral for the Archdiocese of Philadelphia is literally 4 miles away from my cathedral.
It's $5 though. $6, I think now.
My soul's worth it.
Okay, that's true.
Or I could just walk over the bridge for free.
Yeah, that is true too.
But I say when the Spirit moves me, I said it's usually elsewhere that I will go, and I'll tell you, it's a funny thing because I talk to priests about this and they think we're ridiculous, and they're right. They said, Mike, why do you guys worry about stuff like that? And I was like, well, I don't want the priests knowing my business. I got to work with these guys. And he's like, they don't care, right? He's like, they're literally vessels for other stuff. And it's all completely in my head.
And they can also lose their priesthood, too.
Well, yeah, exactly.
There's a lot riding on it.
Like it's,
the seal of confession is important.
But you do have a psychological thing.
I know,
so the people who are listening right now and work in a faith community and you're worried about not going, you're worried about you can't go to confession because people know you. Let me give you two answers. One, they don't care. They've heard it all. And they're not going to think less of you. Two, if you happen to live in an area that has multiple dioceses, cross a border and go into the other one if you're that worried about it. But the worst option is not going.
I'm going to give you three. I go all the time to the people I work for, and I haven't been in a confessional in years. Well, I think I went in recently, but at our Advent penance service, I did go because I was like, I haven't been. I'll just pop in here.
Yeah.
But I would say that 90% of the confessions I've ever gone to, and I go to confession regularly, are in the priest office before my meeting with them, or after my meeting with them, or after the retreat we led, or whatever it is. I always I just utilize the tools that are right around me, which are the priest I work for.
Maybe the day Bishop Sullivan retires, I'll ask him to hear my confession.
There you go. I was one of our priests in our diocese first confession ever.
Oh, wow,
it's like
really?
a badge of honor I wear. I'm like, I was his first confession.
You probably ruined him. There is actually, you said, in your third option, I'll give you a fourth option. If you live in the Philadelphia area and you want to go to the St. John Newman Shrine, the Redemptorists there
That's their thing.
That's what they're there for. They're literally there to hear your confession. And if you ever wonder where the priests go, that's where the priests go.
Yeah.
They
have a separate priest store.
They do. Yeah. They have a separate priest store. They will ring a bell. In the old days, it used to be 24/7.
Yeah, that's
They
incredible.
could literally just walk in and somebody would be there to hear your confession at any time. Nowadays, just the nature of life as it is, it's more of a 9 to 5 job.
Yeah.
But you can go over there anytime and you'll have your confession heard.
That is true.
Which is actually
Fifth and Girard.
Yeah, Fifth and Girard, which I have never been to, and I've also never been to the St. John Newman Shrine.
Gosh, we gotta get you out of the Camden diocese, not just for confession, for life.
I've been
for
many
retreats,
places.
for a lot of things.
I saw Sister. Wait, hold on. St. Catherine Drexel? Who's in the cathedral now, or the basilica?
Oh, I haven't been to the basilica in a long time. I don't know.
One of the saints are there. She got
It was
moved.
probably St. Catherine Drexel because they closed her shrine.
Yeah, then that's what it is. That's right. So I've been there.
Yeah, all right, good.
But I haven't been to St. John Newman.
All right.
I'll work on it. So let's talk a little bit more about the process. Is the food good at an overnight retreat?
I'll let the college students who like to eat more than I do speak to that.
Oh, yeah. I always look forward to the food on the retreats. Sometimes gotta admit, like campus food can get a bit old sometimes. So,
Change it up.
So yeah, I always look forward to the retreat weekend food.
And snacks. There's always
and
plethora of
snacks. Yeah. So part of the retreat weekend, we always, one of the things everybody has to pack is a snack, right? So pretty much everybody will, we always, collect all of our food together in the kitchen, and then we'll have like a big feast at like midnight, and we're eating like Oreos and Pringles and everything else in between.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's great. How about you?
Well, I commute, so I will not say if the food on retreat is better than the food I regularly eat. But it is very good,
okay.
Yes. And the midnight or 1 a.m. kitchen council debates are very, very good too.
That's just such a core memory of retreats, always. Phil and I talk about them still to today, like how important that time at night is, like just being together.
Well, it's funny because listening to you, the one sort of thing that's come through in almost everything you guys have said has been the fellowship angle. Mm-hmm. Like it really does seem like it's a great, not just bonding with each other in terms of friendship, but bonding, spiritually together and in each other's presence, and the humor that comes with that. And I'm sure that there's some drama. I'm sure people have had. I have to imagine.
I was to say it's pretty low key though.
Well, no,
I mean, unless I miss some while I'm sleeping.
I meant spiritual drama though. I meant more like sort of coming to terms with stuff that they may not have considered in their spiritual life. Yeah. I'm happy to hear that you guys don't have fistfights or anything like that.
No,
that's nice.
Yeah, it's nothing like that. Yeah.
But yeah.
Yeah, I think also. You were speaking about confession, the spirit. We always have mass each day, so we'll have daily mass, and I think Donovan was saying adoration throughout the night. So those are key aspects as well that really help people. If they've never experienced adoration before, it's a great time, especially having their own holy hour. They sign up for individual holy hours, usually groups of 2 or more because safety reasons with our Lord. But it's a great way for one to really just immerse themselves in the sacraments and be with the Lord. So I think that's very key too, but that does add on to the bonding.
I will say so far these retreats sound lovely.
You're gonna come on the next one, Mike. We'll let you in.
That seems highly unlikely unless you want me to be a retreat leader.
Them.
Would you like me to be a retreat leader?
No, thank you.
I have noticed I've been working in this diocese for 9.5 years, and no one has ever asked me to lead a retreat. Or I've also never been asked to present at the Newman House on one of their Wednesday night things. No one here has ever requested my opinions in any way, shape, or form, or my spiritual direction.
I asked for Jen Morrow.
Yeah, I know. Everybody asked for Jen Morrow. Nobody asked for Mike Walsh. But the thing what I was going to say was the thing that really impressed me was, and I got a pang in my heart when you said it, Donovan, was adoration. It may take an arm and a leg to get me to a confession. But there is just something beautiful about adoration, particularly in the overnight. Like something about 2-3 in the morning adoration. It's awesome. It is without a doubt the most powerful thing I've ever been a part of.
Yeah, you're usually a 4 a.m.er, right?
The one time on retreat, I got stuck with 4 a.m. and I wasn't happy about it until after adoration, and I've signed up for 4 a.m. ever since.
Yeah. I'm not interested in a daytime adoration, but you open up an evening an overnight.
Yeah,
God, it's beautiful.
Yeah, there's something special about that. For sure.
I asked the priest, what do I do if I fall asleep? He goes, that's the most beautiful thing in the world.
Yeah.
Falling asleep in front of the Lord? That's fantastic.
Yeah, it could happen.
Okay, there you go.
And that's why we like 2 people, so that there's someone always awake. Because what did Jesus say to his apostles? Could you not just spend 1 hour with me?
That's right.
And they fell asleep. He got upset with them.
That's right.
So,
okay, I didn't look at it that way, but I thought it was good.
Don't want like them.
But what his point was, to be so restful in the presence, not to shirk one's duty.
Yeah.
But
no. Saint Therese that said, if you fall asleep praying the rosary, your guardian angel finishes it
for you.
I think about that often because that.
That's really nice.
The rosary sometimes, especially in the late night adorations, it does me in sometimes. Sometimes I can't pray because I'm like, it's just too meditative. I fall asleep, but I'm like, I take a little solace in that. My guardian angel's working for me while I'm sleeping.
I've even brought books in the spiritual nature to read in adoration. Yeah. There's something about it. So, folks, if you haven't been to an adoration on its own is lovely.
Yeah.
I will tell you that I know this may put me at odds with some people. I'm not a big fan of adorations that precede or follow masses because that always felt weirdly redundant. But ones that are separated from it by great, it's like, okay, I've been to mass that day, or I'm going to mass later in the morning or something like that. But for a couple of hours, unrelated to mass, I'm there. Like just something about it
Yeah,
is just outstanding.
Because you've already received the Lord, so it's like, okay, well, I'm with him, but I already have.
Yeah, he's already
him.
in me.
Yeah,
it's like, okay, this is strange. But
so,
I'm not saying it's a bad thing. I'm just saying
I understand that. I understand
there's a resonance
the psychological like viewpoint of that.
Yeah.
But I will also say, with adoration, and all these aspects we're talking about, confession, mass. We have Lent right on the horizon. I'm sure there'll be an upcoming Lent episode for.
As soon as you plan it.
All right, Talking Catholic. But in regards to Lent, these aspects of our faith, especially the sacraments, are usually offered a lot more during that season, like extra confessions, penance services set up, holy hours set up. So take advantage of them. Like we're hyping them up because we're just coming off these retreats. But as a Catholic just listening, they're going to be available to you more readily at this time of year than any other time. So take advantage of them.
Matter of fact, if I'm not,
this probably comes out.
This comes out
the
right
week of Lent, March.
It comes out the week of Ash Wednesday. Yeah.
So
March 5th.
we're not doing a Lent podcast for that week.
You've done a great job of doing a pre-Lenten one, actually, talking about retreats. We could. I don't know. We'll see what happens. We'll see what listen. This
movement of the Spirit.
This podcast relies a lot on the Holy Spirit.
Yes.
So we'll see what avails itself in the next couple of weeks. But that is a refrain that many people who listen to this podcast have heard from you and I specifically, was how important Lent is in terms of the possibilities presented for spiritual reflection, growth. It's a great point. Coming back to the Lord, it's like if you've been away or somebody's been away for a while, Lent is made for that. It is made to consider the possibilities of coming back to the faith.
We got like 5 minutes left. I like to hear from our students, just maybe like a highlight from one of the past retreats. Was it a talk? Was it a time of adoration? Was it something during your quiet hour? Something during free time? That's another thing. We have like football games that go on that get pretty intense and different things during the free time. So is there a highlight from any one of the retreats? Doesn't have to be this past one, but could be.
I think for me, so on the retreat that we led in the fall, the theme was our hearts restless until they rest in you. One of the big things, which was actually part of the talk I gave, was on like letting go of expectations and just like letting the Holy Spirit work. And that was like almost like convicted me. Because I was like, I'm the leader, I'm in control, I need to know everything at all times. And I just like let that go. And little things that came up that were not according to plan and then just made everything so much more beautiful, and seeing two random people that if I had thought about it in my head, I would not have paired them together, get paired together, and now a whole friendship blossoms. And just like letting go of my plan and letting the Holy Spirit work through it. It was just like countless different things that I would never have planned that came up that were so much better than what I could have come up with. So I really saw that, especially on the fall retreat.
Yeah, that retreat in itself had a lot of things unplanned because it's our first time doing one night and then coming back, and then Bishop Williams was here for the Mass, and then we were back here. It had a lot of moving parts and a lot of like, I don't want to say chopped up, but it wasn't as free-flowing as this past one. So it allowed for a lot of room for these like happy opportunities that we could have never foreseen because they weren't in the plans happen, and then they were like, wow, that was really great. So I agree with that.
Yeah, I guess for me, like a highlight from like for the past two retreats, I definitely like really enjoyed getting to like write my talk for the fall retreat. Because really like it was obviously I started writing it like about a month before the retreat, and it was really just like for me a great time to like reflect on like my journey to where where I came from, and now I'm here at my junior year at Rowan University at Rowan Catholic, right? And I just really enjoyed getting to share that story with my friends, and so yeah, definitely I love everything about retreat, all the things we talked about, but for me that was definitely really really special for me this year in particular, get to do that in the fall.
That's wonderful. Well, listen, thank you all for sitting down with us, Donovan and Stephen. We really appreciate that. I'm sorry that the girls couldn't make it, but hopefully we'll have them on the podcast in the future. And Kari, thank you very much for inviting us back into your home away from home here at Newman House.
And behind the microphone. I love podcasts.
Well, you're always welcome to anytime you come
I'll be
up
back
with
in
one.
2 months.
Exactly. But anyway, listeners, we hope you enjoy this episode, and we'll talk to you again next week. See you, everyone.
God bless.